'cause you fit the battle of Jericho, and the walls come tumbling down. You be told you're going down the walls of Jericho. Oh, ain't going down the walls of Jericho. Oh, ain't going down the walls of Jericho. The walls of Jericho. Well, 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 the queen's going down the walls of Jericho. Oh, ain't going down the walls of Jericho. Oh, ain't going down the walls of Jericho. The walls of Jericho.
On a Subaru.
Just finished the podcast. Anthony and Marissa just went to hopefully go ahead and finally get this car and everything like that. So here we go and find out if we can make this shit happen already. Anthony needs a car. Okay, so I just got here. They've been here. So let's go and see what it's about.
Jericho, Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, and the walls come tumbling down. You be told you're going down the walls of Jericho. Oh, ain't going down the walls of Jericho. Oh, ain't going down the walls of Jericho. The walls of Jericho. Well, well, well,
These are our friends Jimmy and Brian. They've put together more Subaru motors than Chevy does recalls. That's such a weird way.
Wait till you see the pistons come out. These caps come off, and then you pull a clip off the wrist pin. So you line the wrist pin up with this, you pull the cap out, and then you push the wrist pin out. And then the piston comes out.
So this is like almost like a lock, I guess, or
that's just a plug.
Just a plug? Okay.
Yeah. It's got little clips that hold the wrist pins in.
Gotcha.
Okay. One on each side and one on the back. Pull them out, slide the wrist pin out, and the piston comes out before you can split the block.
So there's two here.
There's two in the back.
Two
so
on
it's
the back.
So right now the motor itself, how does it sit normally? Like this is at the bottom or is this on the top?
No, this sits like this.
This sits just like this.
Like that? Ah, okay. So that's why they say the world is flat with Subaru drivers. Okay.
Flat forward, boxer forward, whatever you want to call it.
Weird. Okay. Does that make it any more effective than traditional like inlines?
The thought behind it is it brings the center of gravity lower. That's the thought behind
so
it.
So the piston doesn't have to fight gravity and push up.
So it's just going, okay.
So just sideways.
So wouldn't it be better than upside down if we're talking about gravity?
No.
If we want to go full retard with it?
No, because you would still have to pull it back from gravity.
Ah, okay, so then, okay. Well, they just thought of everything, didn't they? And this motor's out of a what?
04.
STI as well, or?
WRX.
WRX.
Yeah, it's 2.5.
Okay, this is a 2
liter.
Okay, just straight 2?
Yeah.
EJ20.
Okay.
The EJ25.
Anthony's going to save a lot of money and do an EJ27. Right?
As he's just shoving food in his mouth. So why is it saving money?
Huh?
Why is it saving money opposed to... Because you said the EJ27
Oh, it's a 2.2 stroker, or it's a 2.5 stroker.
Okay.
So you take a 2.5 block and you take the 2.5 block and you stroke it out, but it's an expensive ass kit,
Ah, okay.
like a couple grand. See if these come out.
Holy shit.
It's because we're
It's
here.
always strip.
It's because we're here. That's what it is, man.
Always. These always round out because they Loctite them from the factory, and then they've been in there its whole life. So
It just knows that this is going to be my motor and doesn't want to give you guys problems and it's giving me
I
problems.
hope that it works that way.
Jericho, Joshua did the battle of Jericho, and the walls come tumbling down. Give me joy, going on the walls of Jericho. Oh, ain't going round the walls of Jericho. Oh, ain't going round the walls of Jericho. The walls of Jericho. Well, 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 ain't going round the walls of Jericho. Oh, ain't going round the walls of Jericho. Oh, ain't going round the walls of Jericho. The walls of Jericho. Well, 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 wait, wait, wait.
Oh, your cam caps do have to go in order because they're line board. So like from the factory, they basically like put your caps in and then they bore it. So if you put like this cap here and this cap here, the bore angle could be a little different, and then it could cause like jam wear and shit. And then these are your lifters are hydraulic, but they're also shimmed, like from the bottom.
Okay.
So there is actual like so if I put this lifter here and this lifter here, it could cause the valve to hang open and cause a misfire. So your lifters have to go in the same spot on these.
So they're that sensitive. Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Jericho, and the walls come tumbling down.
All over again. What the hell?
I don't think this thing was blown that bad. I don't remember though.
The light.
On my tailgate right there, next to that rack socket, it's really bright.
No.
So what are you looking for if it's a like really
Metal.
bad?
Looking for metal shavings, kind of a creamy looking thing.
This looks like normal then?
A little bit, not bad. I would expect more.
Yeah.
It's probably just barely spun a bearing.
Doing super things.
There's not a lot of little shavings in the fan zone.
There are leaves though.
Are those authentic New Mexico leaves?
Like barely any.
I don't think they drove it very much after it started knocking because we went and looked at it and it was like instantly it was like, yeah, it's rod knock. And then he started riding his motorcycle.
Motorcycle. I ride my bicycle.
So what's this thing sticking out?
That's pickup too.
That's
what picks
sucks
up the oil. Yeah,
Okay.
that sucks up horsepower.
Okay.
These are the connecting rods, that's your crank.
Okay.
And then see on the back side there's these plates. These plates, they're bitch to come off.
They're.
Because they're Phillips screws.
Why are they Phillips screws?
This Subaru's an asshole.
Okay.
Those come off, and then that's where you get your holes, or like the caps that are on the front.
Right,
to knock
okay,
the
what
wrist
you're
pins
saying.
out. Then you line it up, push the wrist pin out, piston comes out.
Okay.
Then these bolts all along through here, right there, I think there's some in here. and then there's some on the front, on the top of the motor.
So when you spin a rod, what is that specifically? Like, is that one of these just
It's
coming loose?
One of these rods. So let's see. Actually, I think it was that one. No.
I heard something.
So there's a little bit of play in this one here. It's kind of hard to tell. But basically you have a bearing that's inside of there. It's a soft metal. That way it's not two hard metals up against each other. That bearing usually has a coating of oil on it. If they get starved from oil or they get revved up too high, that metal bushing will essentially turn and then it'll start to wear out. And then you get rod knock.
Is that just from just beating on the motor too hard, or just
the motor, lack of oil changes? There's lots of things that will cause it.
Okay. So if he would have kept running with it, then that's when the piston wouldn't have been as even then,
Well,
right?
if he would have kept running it, sometimes they'll seize up. They'll
Okay.
just lock up and then you can't turn the crank. Other times they'll actually get so hot that it'll snap the connecting rod and then you'll have carnage. It's fun to look at.
Okay.
But this one,
So this is like almost best scenario, just because it hasn't
yes.
really done much damage.
pretty much, because once you go too much damage, you can't. You can only grind the crank so far. You can only resize the rod so far. And if it's something that they've like absolutely just abused and drove the shit out of it with it knocking, then you usually have to replace the crank, replace at least one rod.
Will it get to the point where you have to actually like replace the block itself, or
It could if the rod breaks and then basically the momentum of everything moving around sends chunks of that rod into the block. You could crack it, you could break it. Like we've had engines where the rods have come apart and literally punctured holes through the block.
gotcha?
We had a Dodge truck that came in that had two broken
Here we are with the Dodge again.
Yeah.
It's always brought up scenario.
Yeah, it is like they have like the best fucking ones because they always break. But we had a V8 Dodge come in the shop that the rear two connecting rods snapped, and the thing still fucking ran.
I drove it into the shop.
Yeah, he drove it into the shop. We had another one where a connecting rod broke and took out a chunk of the block, and even took out a chunk of the training too. That big one.
Took the tranny, it took the crank sensor, took the wire.
And Jimmy rolled it in too, or
That one we pushed.
okay.
Half inch.
Fucking that had to load. Yeah, we've had a lot of carnage with Dodge.
John might have one of those things. None of them. Yes.
So Jimmy, real question.
Real question.
Everyone wants to
The
know.
real question is, where's the 10 millimeter?
Well, that one, and is Anthony going to be able to beat my little Fiat with us?
Your Fiat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How bad?
I mean, it's a Dodge. It's gonna break.
I mean, it's technically a Fiat though, so it's different.
Depends on how technical you get.
Well,
Because they just bought it.
okay, here, better question. Better question. Can I build mine to the point where it could beat this?
You can build any car you want. Depends on how big your pockets are.
Okay. Doesn't matter what's in them?
Nope.
I'm gonna put a bunch of rocks in my pocket.
If they're the right
Jimmy
kind of
said-
rocks, you
Hey.
can make some money.
Some crack rock? Alright, educate us.
These are your holes. Where's that flashlight at?
There's two of them.
Huh?
Oh,
I don't know. Did I just fucking have it?
Where's Waldo? So these rings right here come out like this. Don't lose them. And then
Long enough?
that's kind of it for now.
We have to pull the backside off anyways to hit.
Yeah, to hit them out. But anyways, there's these pins right here. These little pins I'm pointing at. They come out. Those are the wrist pins. Go through the rod, hold it to the piston, and then you just pull the piston out to the top. But we have to.
Jericho, Joshua hit the battle of Jericho, and the walls come tumbling down. Give me joy, going on the walls of Jericho. Oh, ain't going on the walls of Jericho. Oh, ain't going on the walls of Jericho. The walls of Jericho. Oh, ain't going on the walls of Jericho. Oh, ain't going on the walls of Jericho. Oh, ain't going on
These are your main bearings.
What do these do, Jimmy?
These are just bearings. They separate your crank from the block, so it's a smooth surface to ride on.
So they bury
Oil goes
the
through these
uncomfortable?
ports.
So usually what happens when you over rev an engine, the bearings will twist, so the oil can't get through those ports.
Okay.
It starts the bearings oil, and then it starts to knock, and then eventually.
So that's the cause of rod knock, is that burying?
Well, these would be
That's-
rod knock.
Yeah, those are main bearings there.
It's
I mean,
kind of really hard to wipe out a main bearing. Not really. No oil is going to be your main cause of the main bearing failure.
or just poor assembly. There's too
Just
much
that
like,
chance of.
or like
If your tolerances aren't right.
if you ask people that don't know what they're talking about.
These bearings look really good though. Like, substantially good.
How many unicorns do you have in your hand right now?
36.
Sack.
That equals 3 pounds. No horsepower.
I don't know how you got behind the trash can.
Scale.
There you go. Ah, the last one now.
Where's that rag? I don't think this thing had a bad motor.
Dude, this one had a bad motor, dude. It was nothing.
Sure?
Because we went over there to look at it, and the kid was like, I don't know, they had done a bunch of work to it where they were filling the front diff with tranny fluid, thinking it was the tranny, so I know they burned the tranny up. But we went over there because it was nothing.
I smoked a couple trains.
And we've blown a couple.
I've blown a couple trains too.
Well then, we learned a lot more about Jimmy tonight, didn't we? See it. These Australian winds. Alright, and that was just part 1. Make sure to hit like and subscribe. We will continue moving forward. On the next episode, we should have the block put together, painted, and hopefully we'll actually be able to fire it up. Fingers crossed. Make sure to vape for the Subarus. You guys start getting your vape more since you're a Subaru driver. But we do also want to give a special shout out to John over at Exotic.
Exclusive.
Why do you say Exotic?
I don't know. Exclusive Motorsports.
Exclusive Motorsports.
Canes, decal bar, extreme wheels,
The Color Masters.
elite towing.
All you good guys. And then we also do want to give another big shout out to Jimmy and Brian for really helping us out with this project, because we honestly have no idea what we're doing, especially when it comes to this type of motor. So hats off to you gentlemen. And Anthony, I think I'm just gonna go cry for a little bit, okay?
Why?
Because my car's not low.
So much wheel gap. And then his old car. Look at this. No, it gets worse back here. It's like 2 fists.
Anthony, what did I tell you about fisting my old car? Get out of here! Yeah, you crazy kid! Why the whole? Get